for Teal Mask. Any other thoughts?
Yep.
No.
Not really. I didn't play much of Scarlet and Violet. I played it a little bit.
Yeah, I get it. But this one, I don't know. For me, like lukewarm. Not sure. Lukewarm. Okay, let's keep going. So I think you had the tweet of it actually, the original tweet of it. I just found a video on YouTube of the shortened version.
It doesn't really matter.
Well, let's just play this shortened version. This is the Starfield rant guy.
Yeah, this is Pronouns.
I may have to turn it down.
I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us.
So angry. I like the music in the background, by the way.
Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns!
British thumb.
Fucking gender ambiguity!
An
fucking
option
current day Californian shit! Because that's all we fucking know! Because we're boring!
You know, Bethesda's not a California company, by the way. That's not a California company. Bethesda is an East Coast company. Like, they're in Bethesda. The city of Bethesda in Maryland, right?
Okay.
Isn't it Maryland?
I honestly have no idea where Bethesda's located.
Yeah, there's a city called Bethesda, and I think it's in Maryland. Is it Maryland? It is. It's Maryland. There is an actual city, Bethesda, Maryland, and that's actually where I assume Bethesda's headquarters were.
And that would make sense.
But like, they're not a California company. I mean, I guess what he's implying is like this is a woke idea, but still,
yeah, liberal.
I'm like, this is not a California company, guy. Anyway, yeah, this thumb is really upset. This is the most angry thumb I've ever seen over Pronouns, and we have additional context for this. So here's the tweet. I wanted to see what that guy who screamed about Pronouns in Starfield thought about Hogwarts Legacy boycott and was not disappointed. Here we go.
Bullied, intimidated into not playing a game because you think it attacks you or goes against your ideology. Boo fucking who? Man up! Fucking Pronouns! Boo fucking who? Man up! Fucking gender ambiguity! You think it attacks you or goes against your ideology, and you just can't help shovel your dog shit! You think it attacks you or goes against your ideology. Fucking crap! Ideology into everything! You think it attacks you or goes against your ideology.
It's just the hypocrisy is, of course, bountiful.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is saying that in the shortened version, he's upset at Starfield for putting some woke stuff in the game, but when people complained about Hogwarts Legacy for all of its controversy, again, it's J.K. Rowling. It's not even necessarily Hogwarts Legacy. It's J.K. Rowling. He's like, oh, whatever.
Man up.
Man up about it.
Just deal with it.
Which shocking opinion. Shocking opinion from someone with an IQ of 30.
So if you look at it a certain way, and again, I'm not trying to defend his opinion is just unreasonable and terrible.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it a certain way, his viewpoint is actually consistent. It's just like, it's just a video game. I don't want politics in it. Like, deal with it. Like, that's kind of his worldview, and like that kind of tracks like between both of them, but again, it's kind of like opposite sides of the spectrum. Again, I'm not trying to defend him because I think this guy's a complete moron and a piece of shit. Just screaming that there's no political agenda by putting a pronoun like slider or option in the game. It's a character creator, and a lot of times in these supposedly like massive immersive RPGs, people like to create themselves and pretend the character is themselves, and putting as many options in the game, including an option to choose your pronoun, is like the way it is. I saw a tweet from a female, I think either streamer or YouTuber, maybe they weren't even that, maybe they were just a gamer, I'm not sure, who said like when she creates her character, she has to select like a male body type to make it look like herself. Basically, she has to select a male body type, and then it would default to have like a male character. So it's she still prefers the she/her pronoun, like it's a woman.
Yeah.
So it was good for her to be able to pick a male body type and then change
Right.
the pronoun back to a female.
Right. I mean, it's
so like, this person isn't even like transgender. There's no agenda. It's just like a female with like in-game, more of a male body type. It's like,
Right.
okay, fine.
Just different body type. Yeah. Get it. Totally get it.
And again, it's like, how is this a problem? How does this affect you? It's an option. For the most part, if you pick a male character, it's gonna default to he, him.
Right.
Just don't even look at it and move on. Who cares that it's an option?
Right.
Like, it's not a political agenda. Bethesda is not telling you to pick any particular pronoun. They're not telling you to make a transgender character or. No, they're just giving people option. They are just giving people the option. You do not have to interact with that option if you don't want to. Like,
so, yeah, I have a couple thoughts on this. One being, it's not that deep for this guy. You just want to talk to this guy at a coffee table. Probably he wouldn't go to Starbucks. He'd probably go somewhere else. But just go have coffee with this guy and go, it's not that deep, man. It's really not. Like, just click the button and move on. Just say he, him. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's not politics either. It's just, this is kind of just reality that we live in. So effectively, you'd think that like a futuristic reality like Starfield would also live in that system. This isn't really complicated. There have been plenty of sci-fi material also that like thought ahead and said, oh, in the future, like these kinds of issues. Actually, Star Trek was one show that was really good at that stuff, where they were thinking ahead. It was like, yeah, when Star Trek first came out, God, I don't remember the years, but a long time ago, the first Star Trek, it was like a full, like, diverse group of people, which was actually kind of crazy when Star Trek first came out. It was like a full set of diverse characters on the crew, which was, at the time, very forward-thinking. You'd think that Starfield would also have like kind of that forward-thinking mentality. It's a futuristic game. And yeah, of course they're going to deal with people who have pronouns that I don't want to say aren't expected, but you'd say like, even though I have a, what's the way to say it? Well, the way to say it is like, okay, fine. I was born male, but I'd like to have she, her pronouns. That is how I am. Please, you refer she, her, please. Or she, them, or she, they. Or just they, them.
And by the way, for people who don't know, scientifically, you cannot change your sex. You are born a certain sex, and that is what it is. However, gender is completely up to
gender is
person.
different.
These are
right.
Gender and sex are two completely different things.
Mm-hmm.
Sex is biological, and
right.
it is the way you were born, and you cannot change that. Gender, however, is
different.
Is fluid and can be selected by the person as they wish.
Yeah, that's the way I wanted to say it. You're just better at it saying it. But yes, like this is just two different things. So even though I was born like my sex, we'll just say male for now, sex male, I still may want to use different pronouns like they, them.
Yeah,
that's not a big deal. It's not that deep. I mean,
we had someone in college who went as their.
Yeah, I mean, you know what?
Like, sure, whatever.
At the time, we were like, okay, that's interesting.
It's kind of weird. I don't really get it, but whatever.
It felt different, and we were like, okay, that's weird to us at the time, but now, obviously, now we're like, okay, you understand it. You start to understand more.
You do you. That's all I'll say. And like, it's just kind of disgusting to me that like people's identity is like seen as political. It's like, this shouldn't be political. It's just like, let people be themselves and live their lives. Like, it shouldn't be political, but unfortunately people politicize it. It's like, in general, like the conservative view is kind of against the whole gender ambiguity thing and transgender and all that, and the liberal side is more for it. That's a general statement. It's not obviously globally true for every person that's conservative or every person that's liberal, but just in general, that's kind of the way it's fallen, at least in the US.
Yeah,
And it shouldn't be political. I mean, I wish people, would just leave other people alone sometimes and just let them live their lives the way they want. Like they're not hurting you by being them, like by someone calling themselves they them, or she her he him or whatever. It doesn't affect you. Just let them do their thing, man. Like, I don't know what else to say.
If that's
how does it hurt? Yeah. How does it hurt you if somebody else wants to be identified a different way?
If that's how they identify, it's how they identify. It's not, honestly, like, for this guy, it's, you're looking too far into this. This isn't political anything.
Go touch some grass. How fragile must you be to get this upset about frickin' pronouns?
It's just like, man, there's way more things you should be upset at than this. This is not a thing you should be upset at. You should be upset at other things. There are plenty of other things to be upset about, which obviously we're not going to talk about. But this guy, this thumb here, probably the biggest mad I've seen regarding this thing with this he, him, she, her. Like, it's just click the button, say okay, you're fine, nobody hurt you, I promise. Just move on. Okay. It's okay. Just pat him on the back, saying it's okay. It's gonna be okay. So anyway, this guy was but this was like the
funny
talk of
because
Starfield.
his Twitch name is like Babyface something. I don't know if you can see it in the background. He has like a placard on it on the.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. Whatever baby face.
Yeah, well, he's acting like a baby with this fucking temper tantrum that he's throwing.
Of course. It's just like, it's really sad to see, and I hope, obviously he's not going to change at this point, but I certainly hope that he does. I certainly hope that he sees the error of his ways and his foolishness, his stupidity.
He probably won't.
Yeah, he won't. Of course he won't. Like, most people don't. Most people generally will not.
No, it's true. It's hard to change. If somebody is like has an opinion, it's very hard.
It's extremely hard to change
their mind. It's hard to change somebody's mind a lot of the time.
It's hard to tell somebody they're wrong and expect them to recognize it. It's very challenging to do that. Once a thumb, always a thumb. Yep.
People have a lot of trouble admitting when they're wrong.
They do.
Like, even if they like internally know that they're wrong, it is very hard for someone to like come out and admit and say like, I was wrong, like I fucked up.
Sincerely.
Yeah, sincerely.
Yeah, 100%. Believe that 100%. Anyway, shall we move on, or do you have anything else to add?
Yep. Nope. That is all.
It for this guy, for Babyface here. Okay, Diablo 4 expansions will be annual releases. Diablo 4 is getting multiple new expansions, but players will have to remain patient for them. This is wasn't necessarily the exact thing that you shared.
No, it's fine. It does. There was a bunch of articles,
but there was a bunch, obviously.
It doesn't. They're all saying the same thing. It doesn't matter.
Let's just start with one paragraph here, which is just Diablo 4 is set to receive a number of major expansions in the future, with each designed to overhaul the game and provide hours of additional content. Hours? I don't know why you'd word it that way. Don't you want to say more than hours? I think you'd want to say something greater than hours of additional content.
Dozens of hours.
Say just many, like a bigger number. Provide maybe a bigger number. Dungeon crawling enthusiasts. Blizzard recently announced work on the first 2 expansions had begun. An exact timeline for release was not revealed. Obviously, I'm not going to go down like this whole thing, but I would say annual releases for DLC. Obviously, we're gonna depend on the price point, but I think that's a good thing.
How substantial. It depends. It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing.
Yeah, of course.
If they are really expensive and there's not a lot of content in them, then they're fleecing people, and it's not great.
I get that. I do get that. I think the concept though of more content is good for a game like this.
Yeah, so, in general, yes.
I think they will charge for the DLC, and it'll be about $40 is what I expect. And if I pay $40 for something like this, I expect more than as they said, provide hours.
I expect dozens of hours,
Well-
perhaps a dozen hours at least.
Because like if you think about it content wise, like what do you think you would get in an expansion? You would probably get like one new act of story.
You get an active new
like-
story.
You get an active story, hopefully a new playable class. I would
Yes.
hope.
I would expect a playable class.
Because
As well.
there was even reports like when the game is in development that like they were gonna announce like the paladin or some sort of holy class, either paladin crusader or something along those lines, right? So, and I would expect whatever like if they're doing a holy class as reports indicated that would come in the first expansion. Like I would think that, but I would think every expansion would have an active new content, a new class, new more and new endgame content with like bosses, more like customization for like the existing classes, maybe some new skills or some new like paragon options or whatever. Like you need all of that, and with a new act you would get a new zone, like a new zone.
You should get a new zone.
Zone as well. And so new dungeons. Well, we're missing Paladin, Monk, Witch Doctor,
Assassin.
Assassin's kind of baked into the Rogue, to be honest.
Okay.
'Cause it has the Rogue has like the traps and stuff like that. And like Demon, I mean, yeah, and so is, but Demon Hunter is too. Like Demon Hunter's
Demon
baked into the
Hunter's
Rogue,
kind of in there
right?
too. Yeah.
Like that was a different class.
Yeah, Witch Doctor was one we're missing, right? You said that. Crusader, Paladin, Amazon.
Yeah,
There's no
Monk.
Amazon. Monk. No Monk. No Kadazim. Kadazim's still mad about that, by the way. I don't know of any other classes I'm missing too. Again, Assassin, but like that, like you said, it's kind of baked into Rogue a bit there.
Yeah, and like Amazon feels similar to me, though I guess we don't have like the spear version of the Amazon.
But Bozon
like,
is a
but
thing.
the bow one's like that again. That feels baked into the Rogue. That feels baked into the Rogue for me.
And you know what? This may be a hot take. I think it's okay for another character to use a bow.
Oh
it's
yeah,
okay.
it is. Of course
if,
it is.
If another character came to the game and was like, I use a bow, I'd be like, okay, sounds good. You use a bow.
Yeah.
Like I'm
well,
okay
honestly,
with it.
they had a dev stream a while ago where they talked about both Diablo Immortal and D4, and they had this new like I forget what they called it, like Blood Knight
Blood
or
Knight.
like
It's like a Blood Knight.
something along those lines. It was like a vampire class. That actually seemed pretty cool. Unfortunately, it's in Diablo Immortal, but maybe they'll bring that to D4 as well.
They might, yeah. I mean, I could see them bringing it to D4. It's a big L that it's in Immortal and not in an actual Diablo game.
But yeah, like as far as this goes, so again, yeah, this can go one of two ways. It could be really good as if we're getting like annual, like significant content. And knowing Blizzard, the expansions will cost at minimum $40. If it's less than $40, I will be really surprised.
Yeah.
But I can see them being 50, 60, or even like let's just double the price for the game and make it 70 again. Like I can see it. It's freaking Blizzard. They'll do.
No, it should be 40. They'll do 40. Put my stamp of guarantee on that. It'll be 40.
Okay, I wouldn't guarantee that, but
I
we'll
would.
see.
$40.
And yeah, it's just gonna depend like how much content we're getting out of it, and what the price point is. As I said, minimum $40 in my opinion, but we'll see what they actually decide to charge for it and how much content there is. So
Yep. For sure.
you can look at it one of two ways. Either like, great, I like the game, but the game needs more content and more things to do, so I like the idea of more content. Or the bad side is, again, maybe they won't give us enough content. Blizzard is trying to fleece us for all that we own. They're just want us to pay more and more and more.
Probably both, to be honest with you. They probably do want to provide more content to you, but at the same time, they want your money. So
yeah,
I'm not gonna say they're gonna fleece us, but I mean, both are gonna be true in this case. I think they'll be smart enough to provide a lot of content, especially if you're gonna make somebody pay for it. And I think they'll be smart enough to do that. I mean, right now they kind of need to make some good decisions. The community is starting to go a little more sour on this game, I think.
I feel like D4 is kind of
It's starting
I won't say
to...
I won't say it's dead, but like it's a little it's in a big lull right now. Even like the big like Diablo content creators have kind of moved away from it right now. Like they got all they wanted out of season 1 and the game's kind of on a downturn right now. And people
Yep.
are just kind of I don't feel like very many people are playing D4 right now, to be honest.
New season
People
needs
kinda-
to come fast. That's what the...
Well,
that's
it's
what
not
they're
coming for
thinking.
another
I
it's
know.
not coming for another month.
I
but,
know.
You know
what I mean.
But that's gonna happen, like, right? This happens with
Oh, absolutely.
like PoE as well. Like a bunch of new season of PoE comes out, people jump in, play for like a few weeks, maybe a month, and then they go on to something else. And
That's
then
what they expect. Yep,
wait for the next season. So
for sure.
that's gonna happen with D4.
Definitely.
But yeah, I agree. The next season needs to come. Even though like I don't even know if I got to level 60 in this season. But
I mean, we kind of paused it for a while because
yeah,
some other
I think
stuff
other
came up,
other stuff came out. Yeah,
which is the problem. That's the problem. Is other things come up. So. Anyway,
yeah, the other thing to like that I want to mention quickly is like they had an interview recently, I think GameSpot did, with Rod Ferguson and one other person from Blizzard, and they had this statement. They were talking about how they have so many different teams for this game. They're like, well, we have like, so they have for seasons they have 2 different teams. They have an odd season team, so like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and they have an even season team 2, 4, 6, 8.
but
So
that's
it's
how
like,
I think that's how it has to work. For a game of this scale, I think you need to have multiple teams for each season. You can't expect one team to churn out each season effectively enough.
You're probably right. And I would guess like for expansions, they probably have like 2 different expansion teams as well. Like one working on whatever the first expansion is gonna be, and then one working on whatever the second expansion is gonna be. Especially if they wanna knock them out yearly, right?
Yeah.
So, I just hope that like, I don't know. There were parts of the game that like when it came out, it just felt like like it can be good to obviously have like a lot of people in different teams like working on things. You get more work done, you can get more things done, but at the same time like they need to talk and like make a cohesive product, because there's like parts of the game that just felt really like design wise just like disjointed, that it felt like was made by completely different teams and they never talk to each other ever. Right? So
I mean, that could be the case. Obviously, I mean, when you have big projects, you have to have multiple teams. Especially, I mean, Diablo is a big product, so they're going to have a lot of teams. It's not just one team with 10 people. It's going to be big teams, kind of doing stuff, and that's definitely a byproduct of if there's not good communication between the team leads. The team leads are supposed to communicate, so that can happen. That being said, I mean, that's what happens. You have big projects, and if you're not communicating, these things happen.
Yep.
But I do think that you do have to have you have to have multiple teams for seasons. There has to be one team doing a subset of seasons and another doing another, and then somebody else is working specifically on expansion content. That's that yearly big content. But I feel like they would have to communicate to make it work, because one team's going to release a season that could ultimately affect an expansion, or add something that could affect an expansion. It's like they would have to communicate anyway.
Again, you would hope so.
So
We'll hope the whole thing isn't put together with duct tape, which,
hey, you people do that. People do that. They duct tape things together. As long as the foundation's good, some duct tape is okay. The foundation has to be good, though. The foundation's bad, it's bad. Speaking of foundation,